on. Yep.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the February 14th, 2024 Town Council Appointments and Negotiations Committee meeting. We'll note we have a full committee with Councillor Seither and Councillor Katarina and myself, Councillor Shu. At this time, we will open the meeting up to public comment if there's anyone who would like to speak to anything that is on the agenda this evening. We'd also have a councillor who is not on the committee in attendance here. Mr. Hamel, if you have any comments.
Not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Can we move on to the approval for the minutes for the January 10th meeting?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes. So item number 5, the first is we have a couple applications to review, and tonight we're going to be addressing the firing range committee. And then actually we need to touch on shellfish because I made an error. And then we're going to, and so that's for the new committee stuff. So first we're going to go to firing range. We have 1 vacancy and we received 2 applications. And we received a recommendation from Chief Holmquist, who's recommending Robert Chandler. So I would be moving to fill the vacancy on the firing range committee with Robert Chandler with a term to expire.
Committee does not.
Oh, thank you. Nope, no expiration.
Madam Chair, just so you know, I'm the liaison to the firing range.
Perfect.
And I was excited that we got 2 applications, and I wish we had room for an alternate, but it doesn't lay out come for an alternate because both gentlemen do really well, but I also support Mr. Chandler for this position, so just so you know.
Got a second?
Oh, yes, sorry. I didn't know you were moving it forward. Okay.
Sorry, maybe I shouldn't have. It's okay. Any discussion? That's great. Okay, all in favor? Great. Okay, so at the last meeting, we had appointed someone to the Shellfish Conservation Commission, and then we inadvertently did not do one of our normal practices.
Can I
Yep,
interrupt you for just
absolutely.
Because I think I'm tangled.
Yep.
The agenda says Coastal Waters and Harbor Advisory Committee, but you keep saying shellfish.
So if you go to the back of this, because we,
Yeah, I thought it was coastal waters too.
so what happened was.
Oh, I see.
And I'm
These are
happy to
separate.
discuss that.
I got you.
The
I got
norm,
you. That's why we
typically
didn't
what we
have a second
do
for
is
it.
when there's an opening, we move up an alternate and
I
we
gotcha.
just didn't do that. So
Okay.
that was just like a mistake that we made.
No worries.
So what we're proposing tonight is to actually take that alternate, who is Liam Erickson, and move him up to a full voting member, and then that would make Travis Turner the first alternate.
Okay,
Correct?
I understand. Yeah. My apologies.
No?
Travis is all set as a full voting member.
Oh, there's,
He was appointed and he was at the meeting.
Yeah.
oh, I didn't
so-
think there was enough seats. I apologize.
No, so you would move Liam to full voting member and that would leave the first alternate available.
Okay, that's my
Gotcha.
fault. I thought.
So Travis and Liam would both be full voting members.
Okay, so what we're moving on tonight is just to move Liam Erickson from the first alternate to a full voting member
Correct.
on the Shellfish for a term to expire in 2024.
Okay, so moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
No.
I had one point, if I may,
Sure.
as the council liaison to Shellfish Committee and also the Coastal Waters and Harbor Committee. There's no advisory in there in the title. I think it's worth looking at that group again because there are, I think, still some vacancies on shellfish. We're having a devil of a time. And this has been a historical issue of getting a quorum. And we barely made it last night with Noah Nygren joining via Zoom from Hawaii. So he's gonna be working out there
Is on a temporary basis, right?
6 months,
Yeah,
full time though.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like he has moved to Hawaii.
Correct, but his assignment would be
Yeah.
extended, and I think it's likely he will not be seeking to be reelected as the chair, so. So I would just ask the committee to kind of revisit that to be sure that, you know, there were three people that, you know, are not returning. Robert Willett is not returning, who was the vice chair. Nate Orff is not returning, and William Hamilton has left,
Right.
not returning. So every time we have a meeting, it's a battle to get enough folks for a quorum.
I would say then we do a full, I'm sorry, I'm speaking out of turn. That we do a full board recruitment
Yeah.
to get
Advertise.
members
Yeah.
for, and then make sure they put them in for our next meeting.
Yeah. I think
Why don't we
that's-
do that?
Yeah, cause
And
right
have-
now we have no applicants for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a,
Communications committee?
That
They're
was
all
at
done.
4.
Those are
What's
four.
that for? This is,
I thought it was in 5.
Judy, right?
Yes,
Karen Shoup, we met at the
Yes.
caucus. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah, this is an appointments committee meeting, not as exciting as communications, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
You are welcome to join. We're actually about to do 2 more minutes of work, though.
Okay, well. Ordinance is the exciting one.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought the meeting was at 5.
Oh, apologies, Judy. My
Yeah,
name's
no.
April Sider. I'm the Communications Committee Chair. I'm happy to touch base with you
Yes.
after this. Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
okay, so we have a motion to move Liam to a full voting member of the term to expire in 2024. All in favor?
And that's, I'm sorry, no, I'm confused, so that's on Shellfish?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
I
Okay.
swear my meetings are just another.
No.
So we're gonna
Doing
move,
great.
he's looking, okay, you got it over there?
Okay. So thank you for appeasing me with the shellfish. We will try to be more cognizant moving forward of moving alternates up to the open positions when those situations happen. Okay. Next on our agenda is to review applications and possible reconsideration and action on coastal waters and harbor advisory committee. So at the last meeting, we had made some recommendations for the Coastal Water and Harbor Advisory Committee, and then it came to our attention that a longstanding member had not submitted his application in time, so we were going to give him the opportunity to submit his application. So we have received that long-term member's application. He is now part of the consideration, and I am now currently making a motion for reconsideration for the Coastal Waters and Harbor Advisory Committee appointments.
So I would second that.
Okay, discussion, sure, yeah.
So let me just ask again, Coastal Waters and Harbor Advisory Committee. The advisory part is escaping me there.
That's how it's typed on our thing. It's
Literally everything says that.
Anyway,
Don't worry about
It's
it.
fine.
Dawn.
I'm on the
Don't worry
website.
about it. I'm the town council liaison to that, so you gotta get the name right.
it's advisory.
That's what's on the website.
So anyway,
Well,
um,
we know there have been errors on the website before.
so I mean, as I said before, we wanted to give the longstanding member an opportunity to submit his application and be part of the consideration.
So how many
we have done it.
applications? We have one.
One,
I was a little
Two.
confused by 1, 2. Oh, I see one of them's typed. I missed Travis.
Three. Yeah, we have 3.
4.
Tyler Kern,
Whoops, then I'm missing some.
5,
What are the,
Travis Davis is 5.
here we go, the names in.
and
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6. Yeah, there's 6 people. With 2 vacancies. All right.
Any recommendations?
Well,
Our previous recommendation was to nominate Darren Granada to for a full voting member and Robert Osmond, correct?
yeah,
Okay. So in looking at the application packets again, I have to be honest, I'm excited by the opportunity to recommend the same 2 people that I recommended at our previous meeting. I think that we're lucky and fortunate to have had so many people be willing to apply.
Are there alternates on this committee?
Yes.
Are those alternates supposed to be open then, right?
Mm-mm.
No, that's weird. So who's an alternate? 'Cause don't the alternates get moved up unless they don't wanna be?
No, because there's, right now, who's up is two full voting member positions.
Yeah. There's two alternate, there's first and second.
So if we are going to be,
Why isn't a recommendation to move first alternate to full voting member and our
Right.
second alternate to full voting member?
Right, the
Right.
second alternate's Marvin though, and he's not, he doesn't wanna be considered.
Darren's currently a full voting.
so
Yeah,
keep Darren as a full voting member, and then if we want to nominate Rob Odlin, what we would be doing is moving Alfred up.
And making
Open
Rod
and then-
Odlin the first alternate?
Yeah.
Correct.
But then, but we're not taking any action on Marvin's position right now because it's formed.
I would say, considering that Marvin Gates came up to me in the hallway before the meeting and verbally resigned from all of his committees, I'm going to at least take that in consideration this evening and leave him as a second alternate. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I would
Um,
rather.
Looking
I
at
wanna
the
wait.
total-
Well, I wanna wait until it goes through the clerk.
I was gonna say, I checked with Tony before we came in here and we have to wait until we have it formally in writing before we do.
Okay.
anything,
Okay,
because-
okay, so then we
Yeah,
should move
that makes
Marvin
sense.
up.
Yep.
So do we have a motion? Do you want me to do so?
Yeah, can you make the motion?
Yep, so the motion would be to appoint Darren Granata as a full voting member with a term to expire in 2026. And then move Alfred Falzone from the first alternate to a full voting member and keep his term to expire in 2024. And then we'll be recommending to appoint Rob Odlin as the. Nope, sorry, Marvin Gates move up as first alternate.
Yep,
And then recommending Rob Odlin as the second alternate
Yes.
with a term to expire in 2026.
I would second that.
Yeah, okay. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Sorry, that's okay. I feel like that could have been smoother.
Here, I also checked the chapter 302A, and it is Coastal Waters and Harbor Advisory Committee.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
thank
what I
you.
thought,
Thank
yeah.
you. Chris.
Yeah, that's funny. Next on the agenda, number 3 is the Conservation Commission Liaison. So this is just something that again, I'm not sure appointments is the right committee to be doing this, but here we are. And this is the recommendation that I'm having as part of one of the council goals last year and that we continue to do this year was to integrate the Conservation Commission into the planning process. And so I recognized that, we already had long-range planning and then, what was the other committee you said? Because it wasn't transportation. But
Yeah.
anyway,
This should come through, ordinance.
yep. So what I wanted to do is just.
Yeah, discuss it.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
discuss it,
Yeah.
see if you guys felt like procedurally appropriate for us to then maybe suggest this to ordinance. I don't know if you have any questions, concerns about this. This is exactly how it's written in the long range ordinance right now. So I just said, make it read the same way as it does in long range.
Can I ask
Yeah,
this?
absolutely.
Conservation Commission by state statute, and correct me if I'm wrong. They are advisors to the planning board, correct? That was the original intent of
Yeah,
these
Right,
conservation
well, planning
commissions.
process. yeah,
Or the
plan,
process, right? So. My only concern with this is just. Planning board is so much time and commitment.
Mhm.
That to ask a member of the planning board to also be on conservation, is that gonna work?
So, and that's fine, and I'm happy to discuss that.
Yeah.
I think in my mind, it's great to have it there.
Yeah,
So if we can use it, we can.
Yeah.
We currently have a planning board member, Bennett, who is an environmental scientist, and I spoke to Bennett and he is willing to do this. He is interested in doing it. He is a young volunteer who I am trying to get more involved. He
right,
wants to get more involved. And so, I think on my time on planning board was somewhat short, but I definitely felt like there was a big gap.
yeah,
In just the type of conversations that are having at the Conservation Commission that might be helpful.
Can I just ask a silly question? I think I asked it last time and I know you answered it and I've forgotten it. This is a member of the planning board that will be a liaison to the Conservation Commission or vice versa?
So it's a planning board member who goes to the Conservation Commission, right?
Okay,
And
so a
so,
liaison too.
yes,
Okay.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And I,
Okay.
I mean, I think in my mind, sometimes we're not gonna be able to fill it. But we currently have a planning board member who also serves full-time on the Transportation Committee, and we also have a planning board member who serves full-time on sustainability.
Abilities, the chair.
And then we have a planning board.
But
member who's
are
on
they-
other-
But are they,
No.
it's not by virtue of this, it's just the way it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. And so that's even a heavier load than just being liaison. And so again, this is in me trying to step forward with the goals, trying to put something in place. So if we do have someone, because we did identify someone currently who does want to do this,
Mhm.
I thought it was appropriate.
So here's my other question. The planning board acts as a judiciary body. So therefore, they're independent of everything else. They just take what comes before them and vote on it. Are we getting too into the weeds, or by formalizing this, is that getting away from that function?
No, to me, this is more of like closing the gap in conversations where I look at Rick Meinking and he has done an amazing job of just like taking what sustainability is doing and talking about it for planning.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of continuing the conversation where I've seen on Conservation Commission, they clearly have opinions about things that are happening in town and projects. But it's not making its way to planning. And I think some of the concerns that they have, and also conservation people they don't understand the planning process per se. And I want to kind of close that gap a little bit, get them a little more familiar and see how they can help with the process.
Is the planning board, have you discussed this with the planning board?
So I mean, I've spoken to a couple different members to see if this is something that they would be personally interested in doing.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the chair and the vice chair.
I have not, but I know that the chair currently serves as one of these liaisons to another committee.
Yeah, the
so-
long range
right.
planning, because that's in the charter.
And so that's what we're proposing.
And what is Conservation Commission's take? Do they have one?
I think they are very open to what council's goals are and kind of where we would like to see them maybe help council more. And so I think they've been very receptive to the idea that, and I think they've also learned this year and last that like, if you really want to make a change, it's really like the ordinance stuff and you really kind of have to look at planning and go, well, I don't like what they did here. What can we change in our ordinance?
Yeah.
To do that. And that's, I think, the biggest thing we've realized with like Autumn Spear in our conversations is, I think that's how they can bridge that gap is, they can't show up to a planning board meeting and be like, don't build next to the marsh, but they can go, oh, we don't want you building next to the marsh. Let's look at that ordinance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just closing the gap a little, trying
Yeah.
to bring them in. So anyway, I truly do actually not know how the process works, but I would love for this to go to ordinance and see this.
Well,
move
you have
forward.
to talk to the chair of ordinance.
I think you should make a motion to send the following amendment to the Conservation Commission.
But it shouldn't come from us. It
And
should
that's-
come from conservation.
And that's why I don't think that, I keep saying, like, I'm
Oh,
not
I
sure we're the
see,
right
I
committee
see.
for
I
this.
I actually think it's rules and policies.
Yeah.
Rules and
Okay.
policies.
Well,
they take a lot.
Shannon.
I
you have some-
Done, I have got a running list for you.
I have a list of my own.
If you recall, a few, just the background, a
Yeah.
few councils ago, it was determined that rules and policies really should take up any requested amendments to 302 or 302A, and this would be 302A.
Yeah.
That is literally.
Yeah, but there's another.
So
there's
my
another
recommendation
one.
as opposed to ordinance would go to rules and policies for
Okay.
consideration and discussion.
Well, then let's schedule a
Open for
meeting.
business.
All right,
Let's
that's
do it.
great.
Love it.
And Counselor Sather does have another item for the committee to take up as well.
Yeah, I have another one as well. So there you go. Schedule a long meeting for us. All right, well, I appreciate the discussion. I don't think, we
Yeah,
have to-
no,
I don't think we
right.
have to do anything or make a motion or anything on that.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, let them deal with it.
But I
There you
I
go.
appreciate the
Good to know.
conversation. Okay,
Thank you
number,
for bringing that forward, Sharon. I
Sure.
know that that's something that you've been working on and hope it makes its way through the process.
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully it'll work. It takes a little while. So number 4, on the agenda is the committee status of the Historic Preservation Implementation
Oh,
Committee and
yeah.
the Senior Advisory Board.
I was past liaison to historic preservation. And I am allegedly the current liaison to the senior advisory board. The reason I say allegedly, because it hasn't met. And neither has historic preservation. Historic preservation has not met since before COVID. As a committee, and I think they need to be looked at again, whether they are full committees or ad hoc committees, i.e. I know the historic preservation, and I'm digging here a bit, was set up to make sure that historic buildings and sites and whatever are preserved within town. And they were to work, like if something came before the planning board. Or
just
again,
happened.
here's another one.
This just happened.
Yeah, and Jessica appointed herself to go because there's no. They
Well, I
haven't met. I mean,
appreciate
it wasn't as a result of an official meeting. So I don't know who we talked to or how we get more background on what makes sense. I'm looking at the assistant manager over there. But the senior advisory board, I did have a long discussion with Todd. And he thinks it makes sense to put it back into the community services board. And because they just can't get people to serve on it.
Well, and he has a very active senior group, but
Yes.
it's not an advisory. So I think he's getting what he needs there for sure.
Well, and they don't
Not-
want to be on the advisory
don't.
committee, because I've asked them over the last umpteen years, and it's
Huh.
like they are not interested.
Yeah, and so like, I don't want to get rid of a senior committee, but it sounds like they actually have a very active senior
Yes, group.
group, but it's
Yes.
just not a town. So I don't,
So give them a seat, it's called the senior seat, so to speak, on the community services.
Well, we have to change,
Yeah, we're gonna have
so we'll
to
have
change
to
something.
change
We gotta
the
look at the,
appointments structure of the.
yep. It
Yeah.
could probably be, or,
rec
is that
advisory.
rules and policy or,
302A.
yeah, so it's gonna go to, okay, so there's something else for you, Helen. We're gonna work.
Are you part of it?
No worries, we'll catch you,
Question.
catch up.
we have,
Talk to me when we're in that meeting.
Yeah.
I'm just a member.
yeah, I think consolidating senior advisory to the community services makes sense. I just want to like make sure that it's aware out there that there is an active senior group that like
Oh, yeah.
actively
Oh, yeah.
discusses things and active. But
Just remember, it's 40% of our demographic, so. Sure.
And they're the most vocal part of our demographic, so.
We have a recruitment strategy.
I
for
know.
Getting them to want to serve on a committee that
Because
currently
Jean
doesn't
Marie's
meet.
been trying for years. No,
You know,
and I am a senior myself, so.
right? So for next steps. I mean, we can't keep talking about this. I think what you're saying is we would have to restructure community services rec advisory board to specifically create a senior spot.
No, we just send it all the rules and policies.
Okay.
I move that we send historic preservation, implementation and senior advisory board to rules and policies for further work.
to be clear, this is our rules ampersand. Not RIP.
Whatever, stop.
RIP, right?
All right,
Thanks.
any discussion or
No,
all in favor? Great.
Sorry.
Okay, so for the next agenda items, I know that we will be addressing long-range planning.
Yeah.
And it looks like we might have an opening on coastal as well.
Yep.
And then we'll see if any other applications come in, but I think as we,
When is the deadline for application?
anytime.
rolling. Really, anytime.
Application.
Typically, I send out their agenda packets the week prior.
You are,
Kristen Barr, yes, or deputy town clerk.
right, I think we spoke. I'm Judy Fisher.
yeah, but you've got lots of time. Unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of openings on committees, but we can talk, we can look
Yeah.
at that and see what we have. I don't know if there are any other agenda items? for
No.
March? No, okay. And then we have item number 7, which is an act on the request for an executive session pursuant to Title I MSRA Section 405, Section 6D to discuss labor strategy and contract negotiations, not to return to regular session.
Oh.
Um,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? Great. Okay.
So that means